Hey, it's Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Tuesday. It is December 15th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And believe it or not, December's already halfway over. I just don't know where the time's going. Um, I think I'm going to work tomorrow, and then I'm going to take the rest of the year off from there. I usually like to take these last couple of weeks off. Christmas kind of falls on a Friday or weekend this time, so it kind of throws things off. But I'm going to work tomorrow. And I doubt I'm going to work after tomorrow. I may work Thursday. It just depends. I may go ahead and finish this week out. It just depends, really. But I got a lot of things going on, and I really just I'd like to take off, so I probably will. So if no chart lesson after tomorrow, you'll understand why. But I'll let you know tomorrow what I'm going to do. But I'm about to wrap it up and take off for the rest of the year and kind of wind this thing down. And we had a pretty good move today. It was hard to catch this move. Not a lot of trades today. There's a few. I mean, there's plenty here. Early on, we had a nice downtrend with several second entry shorts off a key entry point. So we'll talk about them shortly. But um, there was a nice second leg up here. And what you do is you just measure this first leg up. When we don't make it back down and we start higher here, obviously measure this leg and move it over. And you can see we really got almost a perfect measured leg. We went a little bit further before we sold off. So we got this two-tiered channel, which we overshot that here. This thing was really strong this afternoon. So nice move up. It's just a shame we didn't get a really good chance to catch it, a lot of this move here. But that's the way it goes sometimes. So we just really shot out of the middle of this, what looked like was going to be a range, and took off. Let me back out. We'll go through the trades and we'll probably wrap today up. I did want to show you, we've got a new tool chart just to that some of our members made. If you remove this, a new toolbar, I guess you just call this a custom toolbar, and it's designed for some of the stuff we do. So, but let me show you a measured move. You just put it on here and you draw the first one, and when you let off the mouse, click on the mouse the second time, it creates your other line, already the same distance. You just move it over and there it is. Really nice tool. You got all your arrows up here with your green ones, your red one, your blue one. The channels works a little nicer than the old one. You can see how it works a little nicer than the older one. It doesn't get out of whack like the other one did. I really like the range one. You can see it draws a flat line. You don't have to worry about trying to get it a perfectly horizontal line, which you did on the old tool. It's kind of hard to. So this is a really nice toolbar. It does some other things too, but that's the two quick ones that I wanted to show you. You can actually hide your drawings if you wanted to click them off without deleting them. That's pretty neat. So if you want to just look at the chart versus put this back on, really nice stuff. And Bastian, I believe that's how he pronounces his name, did this tool for us. It's available on our website. You have to be a member to download it though. So if you're not a member, you won't be able to download that. Most of those we put in the member section, but it's free if you're a member. So you might want to check that out if you hadn't seen it yet. It is posted to the site. But anyway, let's talk about the trades. Obviously, I just showed you the measured move, and we actually went just a tad further than that. So nice measured move today. Great target. If you caught any of this moving up, you knew exactly where it was probably going. I mean, sometimes when you draw these trend channels, it's hard to trust that. But looking back at it, maybe this was the trend channel, and it still fits there actually rather nicely. And you can see that right there. We did get an overshoot here and then shot up and moved over. So it's really hard to say. I probably would have drawn it like this, or actually that's the way I did draw it. and I stayed with that, and I used this shorter term one, and then it's like a spiking channel, and then you got another, this green two-tiered channel up there, which I'll show you when we get to it. And that's the way I drew it and played it, and I think that was the better way. But anyway, you could have maybe looked at it the other way as well. But let's back out. 7 o'clock came. You really had to be patient this today. I can't remember exactly where 7 o'clock was. It's right in here somewhere. Yeah, right as we were kind of coming down off this correction here, and you get a second entry long there, but not a very good setup. It just turns into congestion, and you finally get a second entry right here. My signal bar is not good enough, but if you had a little better signal bar, you might go long right there. There's enough room to get out. It's just not a good signal bar on my chart, so I didn't really like it. We technically have a break, but we don't have a new high yet. We end up with two legs up to a new high, and then we tried to go higher one more time and then sold off. Once we came up here and noticed we actually had a double test right here, but you don't want to go short right into that support across there with that big bar, because you see what happens. It bounces, but when it comes back and it tests it again and makes that new high and turns down, I kind of like going short there. The key is maybe do you have enough room back to the EMA here, because it could bounce there. So what you might do if you don't have enough room is let it break lower and then drop a limit order in there, and you probably could have still entered that one. It actually comes back one more time and then makes a lower high here. This bar was real close. You can see it's almost neutral, and I ended up liking it though, because we made that high. You make a double top and then you make a lower high, so it's really another double test of this level. And this is an engulfing bar. You could have waited on this bar, which is really how I would have played it. I don't know if I would have taken the engulfing bar here. I'd wait for this one and then go short below it. I think you got a little better. Of course, it looks even more like congestion there. So if you waited on that one, you may not have liked it. So because you got to be careful on that congestion. But the reason I like it is all these tests of these highs and prices are not going higher, and then we make a lower high. And so there's almost you can be almost certain we're coming to the other side. It's just a matter of when, so it's a timing thing. So with the lower high and that nice bearish bar, I liked it. It still looks a little congestive, but if you understand why, because prices are trying to go higher and they're really running out of steam here. And so we're probably going to go lower. You could argue for that one to be green. I went ahead and marked it because of the lower high after basically a double top. Then we run on down. You get a second entry here. I wasn't as crazy about this one because we got a little failed breakout, and it's tempting to want to go long here, but look how we're not getting any rejection here. And so when it breaks higher, you got to be real careful about going long there. But when it fails and gives you a second entry short with that nice signal bar, I like going short. It's close to these lows, so that's a little bit of concern. So again, you might have to use a limit order to really make that one work. But that's why I marked it green. It does confirm that trend line, although it's really hard to know if it confirmed it or not. There's actually a shorter term. Let's use our new one here. It's actually a shorter term one. You can see how that one works. You don't have to move your line as much. But there is a break and a new low as well. But that kind of makes you wonder if this is going to be the true trend line. It turns out it is, and but we actually work out flatter down here on the yellow one. It's a little spike and channel down really. But anyway, there's a second entry short. It's a little aggressive. Then finally we get a good second entry short with a nice signal bar here. I don't know how I got a blue arrow there. So anyway, there's a short. His red's a little different color. What color am I using? Oh, I'm using crimson. He's using red. Okay. It doesn't really matter. They're both red. But there's a second entry short there. But why I had a blue arrow, I don't know. I might have been playing around with these and clicked on the wrong one. But second entry short there. Nice move. You get another second entry right here, but my signal bar is not very good. Then you get a lower high, but again, not a very good signal bar. It triggers on an inside bar. It turns out to be a good move, but you're better off to wait. Then it comes back, first entry, second entry. So you get another second entry, and it's off this flatter trend line. Nice move there. That's probably the best move of the day, other than this one, but it was a little aggressive. Then it comes back, gives you another second entry. We did have a break and a new low, but this broke higher and turned down. I wouldn't wait down here to go short, but if you played this engulfing bar, which broke higher and turned down, when it broke lower right there, and you could put a sell stop right there. I don't think I'd wait on this bar way down here, and if you did, you have a loser. So then we get another leg up. You get a lower high here. And this is another one. It broke lower first, I think, then went up and then closed. So it doesn't really play out well. I didn't mark it. You definitely don't want to go short below this for this inside bar. So I really just think you're better off not just to skip that trade. And I wanted to talk about this one. You got a new low, first entry, and then second entry, and it fails right here. I marked this one green because it doesn't break above this bar, but it breaks above here. So that's really where the failure happened. And with that being an inside bar, it's still a failure when it breaks higher right there. So I like it, but it's not perfect because we're still below. Remember this channel working here. It's still there, and that's still acting as resistance. And so you don't have much room there when it breaks higher. So that's my concern with it. It works out, and it is a failure. But once we got over into here, the one thing that I did notice is it tries to go lower again and makes a higher low. But that's too congestive looking by the end. So if you didn't enter when it broke higher here on the failure, then I probably wouldn't enter there. It's good for a scalp. I think you got a couple of extra ticks, but then we just go sideways. Nothing you can do there. We run up, we test that high, and even though this is not a lower high, we failed to go higher right there, and you're probably going to trap some people. I like going short right there. It's a little aggressive because you're better off to wait on the lower high, which doesn't come down here, and then you got nothing left. And then there's a second entry long right here. Notice the new high, first entry, and second entry. You can clearly see two legs down right there. Signal bar is not great. This one's too bearish, but they have matching lows, so you could use this one. This one's got a couple of stems on it, but there's still room to get out, so you may take that trade. You can see the support was clearly holding again. I'd go ahead and draw your trend line right here as well. Maybe it was originally over here. I'm not sure. But either way, it plays out about the same either way. But anyway, I like this second entry long. It's a little aggressive, so something to think about. But notice what happens. You come up, you go first entry, then you get a second entry right there. It fails. I don't think you want to go long right there. But when it comes back up here and it tries to go lower once, and then twice, and then when it breaks lower right there and turns and goes up, it's probably going to trap a lot of shorts on because you got two clear legs up right there. Let's use our new tool here. Leg one, leg two, and you actually don't quite have, you've got two legs there with a failure, but you don't have two measured legs. So there's a lot of room left to right there. And that's probably going to trap some people, and we're probably going to at least go to here. For whatever reason, this thing rockets off. But you may want to take that trade because it's just creeping up that trend line, and it's very obvious this is a clear channel here. Even if you don't have the bigger one, I just generally you just want to enter closer to the EMA. But on a trap like that, you might go long right there. It's aggressive, so just remember that. Runs on up. You don't want to be entering up here. We've just been away far too long. Not many really good setups either. Until here, we finally get another two-legged pullback to the EMA, second entry long, relatively small bar, 6 ticks. It kind of gives you a little concern right here, but it keeps creeping up that trend line, and the next thing you know, we're going higher. And then it come up here, and you get another two-legged pullback with a second entry long at the key entry point, and this is right along the EMA too, so that's a good sign. Then we finally get a break, and it tries to make 2 legs up, doesn't get it, and we're headed lower, but that's in after 2 o'clock too. So there's a couple of late afternoon trades, but it was really slow from maybe 10 o'clock to 12:30. So all of these, everything in here was aggressive. And that's what gets a lot of traders. They see this great move up, but they don't get an entry. And there's just not really a lot of, you can see some aggressive entries, but there's not a real good entry to catch this. And so people think, oh, I misread it, I missed it. And then suddenly they say, hey, well, I'm going to get in up here if it pulls back to this trend line again, which of course that still would have worked, but so most of the time they'll enter up here and it fails and they get stopped out and then it goes higher again anyway. But this is a really strong trend. Notice all the stems on both sides and very shallow corrections. Even here, this is finally the two-legged correction. Even it's relatively shallow for such a big move. And then we're making a little flatter move higher again. And so that's a really strong trend. It doesn't look like it, it'll fool you. But it is a real strong trend. But yeah, we just had the 2 legs up today. This correction here, what prices were most likely trying to do were to come back and test this. Notice when we broke higher above this level right here, we never tested that. So that's what prices were trying to do. We got so close and didn't quite get there. But what happens is all the people that see how that rocketed up when it broke higher, there were a lot of people buying right there for whatever reason. And so a lot of them get left out and they just leave their orders there because there's a good chance we'll come back and test that. And so they perceive this as a good buying location one time. So they're ready to buy it again when it comes back because that's probably what we're testing here. And so there's still a lot of buy orders probably sitting here. And that's the reason we didn't get all the way back down there, because the buying just gets too strong. And then people realize, hey, we're going higher. And they start looking for those measured legs. And next thing you know, we're gone. But that was a great 2-legged move. And that's what you would expect prices would likely do if they find support before reaching these lows. You would expect that we're going to test these highs again. But we just blew right. We found a little resistance right there, but we really just blew through the original highs and never even looked back. There's just too much. Buying was just too strong. But anyway, that's what I saw today. A nice two-legged rally today. We had a pretty nice correction in the middle, but this is pretty typical price action, what you would expect to see if we bounce early. And even if we'd have got a full test here and turned up, that's what I would be expecting, a possible measured leg up. And so you'd measure this one over here and look for one similar to that. And that pretty much got us to our target today. Actually, maybe a few ticks past it. So good trading day. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. We'll kind of see what's going on tomorrow, if that's going to wrap it up for the week or not. I'm not sure yet. But anyway, I'm going to take a vacation these last couple of weeks, so I'll definitely be here tomorrow, but just not sure about Thursday and Friday yet. No chart lessons on Fridays anyway, so that really doesn't matter. But I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. I'm done for today. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.